Jordan. A spectacular move.
Big clap.
Bring it home, Kobe, baby!
He came up behind him like a librarian. He never heard him.
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen.
G'day guys, welcome back to the Casual Fan Experience. Up bright and early, hence why we're 2 members short, I believe. But I'm here with Tommy. How are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm surprised they even woke up for this one.
Yeah,
But I'm not surprised the other boys didn't pull through.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You know, only 2 out of 4 of us are up at this ungodly hour. But anyway, it will be worth it. We've got a big interview coming up. Number 6 overall pick back in, I think 2015, 2016, in the NBA, Willie Cauley-Stein. So let's just jump straight into it.
Willie Cauley-Stein!
I mean, first thing I wanted to ask, I guess, obviously I watched a few things sort of in the lead up to this, and I saw on the podcast you did with Duncan Robinson that you talked about a bit of your journey from high school to college and whatnot through there. Just so for people that obviously haven't watched it, do you want to just give us sort of a quick rundown of how that sort of went from obviously high school, where I think in the podcast you said you had dreams of being a quarterback, and then obviously on to how you move schools and everything.
Yeah, no, man. Like 8th grade, probably like junior high, I got to move from running back to quarterback, and it was like the most fun I ever had playing. Like, I got to dictate the pace. I got the balls in my hand the whole time. So, I got to make plays for people that didn't necessarily get to make play. You know what I mean? Like that's like I had a lot of power in my hands to like bring joy to other people that wouldn't necessarily get to be in that light if I hadn't played that way. So from like 7th to 8th grade, we had a new coach come in. So back then, what was that, like 2007, 2008 maybe? It was power I. It was I formation. Give it to a running back. Let him. Run up the gut, or sweeps and options. And then we had this new coach come in named Coach Lampy, and he brought like a spread offense too. So we played 8-man football where the little town I came from.
Yeah.
So like the first time in fucking history that a little 8-man football goes to a spread offense where we literally had 3 linemen. And it was just like people's mind was just blown. So there was just so much space for, the quarterback to take off running. And then we were throwing deep routes and stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun. So after that, I was like, well, shit, I'm like 6'1" at this point. I'm like, I think I want to be a D1 quarterback, and started doing like quarterback camps and getting in the weight room a little bit. And then going into my freshman year, I started on varsity as wide receiver, but then played JV, started at quarterback. And I had way more fun playing JV football than I did varsity side, just because that was my unit. That's the team that I've been with since 7th grade. So all my friends was on that team getting to play, and so like it was like just being older and bigger, playing junior high football all over again. And so it was just just fun. So going into my freshman year, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna play basketball. Like I'm a really just lock in. And we had got a new coach, basketball coach that came in, and he was like super young and just a different type of, like where I grew up is a super old school. It was still like, old school basketball, old school, just everything. And he comes in, I think he's 23, 24, super young guy, and has kind of a new philosophy of how he wants to play. Kind of bringing in like NBA sets and stuff like that. And one of my childhood friends' family, their dad was like super big into all of our youth sports, like coached us through, youth baseball and was at all of our like MAYB basketball games, and like damn near a coach that was sitting where the where the parents sit. Like we'd be in the games looking at him instead of looking at our coach at points, because like that's just how we were always at his house. He knew basketball, he knew sports, period. So like he was kind of like everybody's father figure outside of their own people. And I used to go to their house a lot, and just eat, chill, hang out with their son and their daughter, Brianna Conradi. Was in my class, so we had grown up from kindergarten to high school together. And her brother Carson Conradi was like all-star athlete. Like everybody wanted to be him growing up. And he was like 2 or 3 years, I think he was 2 years older than us. But just a star, man, like just a class act, 4.0 student, like leads, had 3-point records and then all scoring records from freshman year. He started as a freshman all the way to senior year. Like, you know what I mean? Like the guy, this dude was the guy.
The dude, yeah.
And they're like, man, you got to play. Like one, we don't even have enough players. Like, it's such a small town. Like we need you just for one, we need players, but two, like you're good, so you should play with us. Because I played MAYB on their teams too as the younger guy. And I was like, I don't know, man. I think I really want to be a quarterback. Like, I really want to like play football. And anyways, it took him a week to talk me into it, and ended up going to one of the basketball camps that the new coach had. His name's Coach Stanford, by the way. Ended up having one of his like basketball camps just to kind of see what talent pool was coming up from young guys to what he had for older guys. And in junior high, I played point guard, so I was like a one-man press break. So at this camp, I'm sitting there just like going coast to coast, and at this time, I'm like, I think I grew like 7 inches from 8th grade year to freshman year. So then like, I'm still in this mentally point guards like headspace at 6'7". He was like, no, you gotta play for us. You gotta play for us. And I was like, all right, what the hell, I'll play. And then it was just like, I remember having one conversation with him. He was like, if you play, like I guarantee, like by the end of your time here, you'll have every college coming to this little ass town. And it wasn't like a year. I mean, my freshman year, I think we lost 1 or 2 games, and went to state. No, went to sub-state finals and end up losing. But by the time the next summer came around, man, we had like Missouri, Arkansas, Southern Cal, like showing up to this little ass town where, like just the gym, small as shit, and we're having like an open run so these guys could see us play. And I just like remember like, wow, I can't believe these dudes actually showed up to this little ass town. And sure as shit, I mean, every day I'm going he was our history teacher, going into his room and stack of letters, just like every day, just a new stack of letters. Like, and so like me and my friends would I didn't even open the letters, honestly. I just started collecting them and putting them in like a big ass box. And I'm like, all right, by the end of like my senior year, we're gonna burn all these things. Like, we're gonna have a big bonfire with it. And I had a big ass Amazon box just full of letters from God knows who. And I ended up moving my sophomore year, so I didn't even finish school at Spearville, and ended up moving to Olathe, Kansas, where I had met Siobhan Shields, which is, I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he plays in Milan now. He's really he's had a really good career in the Euro, and but his dad is like a 14-time fucking Pro Bowler and like Hall of Fame guard that was with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I played on his AAU team. And we went to a team camp when I was at Spearville. And like I think my freshman year going into my sophomore year, we went to a team camp at K-State. And so Siobhan's AAU like coach or like the guy that's ahead of the organization was at there like recruiting guys, watching the games, recruiting. And I had like a really good game against one of their best players that was on that team. And so after the game, he came up and was like, "Hey, man, we want you to play on our team. You know, what would that look like?" And I'm like, at this time, I'm traveling 6 hours just to go practice on the weekends. And it's like my first time even leaving this little ass town, and like I'm getting on planes, and like it was just like a culture shock. Like, you know, I thought I was gonna be a farmer, like for where we come, you know, like basketball and like being really like a professional athlete was just kind of not even in the thought process, honestly. So it was just like full steam ahead. It was like on a express train, just going full speed, and you know, things started happening quick. I ended up moving in with the Shields family, and there was like my legal guardians for 2 years. And I had a bunch of schoolwork I had to catch up on. Like the grading scale was different from Spearville to Olathe. So like Spearville was actually like a whole grade harder. So where I was getting B's was actually C's at this bigger school. So I had to like do a bunch of schoolwork in the summertime to like be able to qualify to go to a D1. So I mean, their family like really, really, really helped me just develop as a man, really. Like, you know, I was still like a little boy, didn't know much about the world. Got into that family, and you know, they taught me how to be wealthy mentally. You know, of course, you know, I'm with 15-year like fucking professional athlete. Like they got stupid amount of money, but they were super frugal, and like, you know, dude owns mad businesses, and like, you know, has charities going on in the Kansas City. I mean, dude's a legend out there. So, you know, I'm seeing this from the first hand, and like that was like probably my first like, man, that's how I want to be. That's what I want to do. And you know, we have a really good career at that high school. I end up still playing football. I my junior year there, I get there, and crazy thing is, Coach Dane, his name's Todd Dane, head football coach there. He's our English teacher, and I show up, and he's like, "Oh, we heard you play. You know, you played football back in Spearville." He said, "You'll never believe this, but your head coach was my head coach when I was in high school at Silver Lake in like Kansas." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Coach Lampy?" Like, small world. And he was like, "Yeah, what position do you want to play?" And I'm like, "Shit, this is like 6A big time football." I'm like, "Shit, like quarterback. Like, what you mean?" Like, I want to play quarterback for sure. This is like the dream. This is like Friday Night Lights. You know what I mean? I'm like, "Fuck, like that's what I want to play quarterback." And he's like, "All right, shoot, get your pads set up after school." And I missed like the first couple of days or 2 days, but I'm out there like everybody else is in pads. I just got a helmet on. I'm throwing routes, and like I had a cannon. I'm just throwing crazy, like just. So all the guys are like, "What the hell?" Like, so it was 6'7", 6. No, I was probably like 6'9", 6'10" at the time. At that point,
No one's
and
blocking that pass. No one is.
no, man, I'm looking over the line. Not only that,
The line of
super,
scrimmage is not there.
yeah, and I'm like, you know, super fast. I'm beating everybody in sprints, and they're like, "Bro, this dude's, you know, wild. Like this, man, we ain't seen a guy like this before." And so my team or my school previously, the Spearville school, the superintendent, for some reason, I don't know, there was a big ordeal that happened there when me transferring schools. They didn't necessarily like me transferring schools, but it was like 1A to 6A. So there was never a thing that we were gonna have to play against this team or whatever. But they didn't sign off on me being able to play sports. I had to sit out for like I think it was like 16 weeks. So I missed the whole junior year football season and like the first three or four games of basketball season that junior year. And so I was sick because I'm like, man, I finally because one their our senior quarterback ended up breaking his collarbone. So like I had a chance at really getting to play. I was kind of, super disappointed, but I worked that whole like off season with the quarterback coach, and I was like super excited. I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna get to really like do this at a high level, and have a chance to put my name out there. So we were like running 7-on-7s, and one of I'm in history class, and this new kid comes in. His name's Dalton Rook, and he was a swaggy little white boy. And I'm like, oh, I like the way this dude looks. Like he looked like, like me, you know what I mean? Kind of like talking, looking like me. But he was new, he was kind of quiet in the corner. So I started talking to him, and he's like, yeah, no, I pretty much came here to play football and baseball. Like our quarterback coach had coached him previously. So then I started putting two to two together. I'm like, oh, you here to play quarterback? Like, hold on. That's what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like, like it was almost like it was set up. So then I slowly started seeing me fade into the receiver spot. And I was kind of disappointed, but me and him had a crazy duo. Ended up breaking like a bunch of records, and had like 1,600 yards and 16 touchdowns that season. And we ended up winning a little like I think it's called like the Air Force Aerial Attack Award or something for Kansas. And it was like all state, and we had a really fun year. So it ended up working out. But it just wasn't what I was trying to do. So I was kind of disappointed I didn't get to play quarterback, but I mean, it was still fun playing football and everything like that. Basketball, we didn't never make it to state, but we only lost like one or two games both of those years. But we lost in the sub-state finals both years. Go on to getting signed to Kentucky during that, and then it was just like hitting a whole nother pinnacle after that. Like as soon as I signed with Kentucky, I remember Twitter really just got popping, and I gained like 5,000 followers overnight. As soon as I signed with them, it was just like, now you're famous and projected top 15 pick, and I haven't even played a game yet. I haven't even stepped on campus yet, and you're already on leaderboards. And it was just like a whole different wave of life after that.
Yeah, college like sports is like in America, it's just like nothing like you'll ever see. Like over here in Australia, we have nothing like that. Like there's no level that compares to like even just college sports. So that would have been like a huge experience for you, I imagine. And then obviously a school like Kentucky,
Well, I couldn't imagine now how the NIL and even how social media, like from 2012 to now, has even grown even more. So I probably would have made more money at Kentucky in the NIL than I made in my whole NBA career, which is crazy.
At Kentucky, obviously, there's a pretty good list of players that you played with, like that went on to do some pretty good things in the NBA, like guys like Julius Randle, Booker, like Cat. Other than those sort of guys, is there someone that you played with that was like, I guess people would be surprised about how much of like, a dog they were at college?
Oh man, there's a handful of them. You got Tyler Ulis, you got Trey Lyles that's still playing with the Kings now. You got Alex Poitras, who's just playing in Milan. Nerlens Noel was the number one in our class and ended up being number 5 pick after a torn ACL. And like, I mean, there's a number of guys, off the radar. James Young playing out here in Italy in the same league as us, and One of my good friends, Kyle Wilcher, too. He ended up transferring, but he's playing in Venice now. So, like, a lot of these guys we are having great careers over here in Europe and still doing it at a high level. But yeah, man, there's a lot of guys that came through there that people kind of tend to forget about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's sick. Was Kentucky, like when you committed to Kentucky, was there any other college that you tossed up? Was there like a preferred college that you wanted to go to that you didn't get an offer to? Or was Kentucky like, yeah, let's go there?
So the crazy thing with Kentucky was it was late. It was a late. So I already had like 5 schools that I was already like going to see from my freshman year, K-State, KU, and Oklahoma State, all Big 12 schools because that's around where I lived. And then Alabama came on the scene a little later because I had ties with Trevor Relaford. Me and him worked out with the same guy in Kansas City. So, I knew who Trevor was and I felt comfortable going there. So Alabama was really at the top of my list with Oklahoma State. And then K-State was always there just because that was in school, in state. And, we had camps there and they knew who I was. We built a really good relationship with Frank Martin. And so I was going to these like schools, on visits. And my last AAU tournament, Kentucky gave us the offer. And it was just like, oh, well, they just moved up to the number 1 spot. And everything else that we were just messing with got bounced down. And I think Oklahoma State was like the first school out of the top 5 that got pushed into the 6. And we only went on, I think, like, ended up going on 4 visits, like official visits. And I was like, I really was going to go to Bama. And after, so I went to Florida for my first official. I might have went to Oklahoma State, then Florida, and then Bama. And I love Florida was nice. Billy Donovan, his wife took care of us. Like she was like, I felt comfortable there. But I wasn't a fan. And honestly, the only thing that like made me not go to Florida was the living situation, the dorms. The dorms was like cement walls and super small. I felt like it was like I was like, nah, I can't. I don't want to go here. And when I went to Bama, it was like, if I go to Bama, I want to play football and basketball though. So that's kind of where my mind was like, fuck, bro, like you got a chance to walk on the team, but get a scholarship for basketball, but be part of that football history. I was like, if I go here, I definitely want to play both. And so I went on that visit, had a blast. Going into the next week, we have a big playoff game coming up for football. And it's Kentucky's Midnight Madness. And so they bring, all the recruits in, and it was like 5 a.m. and I was supposed to get on a plane, and I was like, I don't think Kentucky's for me. Like after Kenny Payne had came to an in-home visit, and like, the stuff that they were talking was so real that it was like, it was almost scary, like it was almost like, you're not going to be the guy. You're not going to get the ball all the time. And you're not, basically it was a bunch of you're nots. And I was like, I'm like, well, I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, the top in your class at every, I'm like, man, I don't think I like the way that sounds. But what he did say was like, but you will play against the best kids every day. You'll have, the craziest fan base, and you'll go pro for sure. Just by signing here, you'll go pro. Now, what you do with it after you get here is on you, but just by coming here, you'll be already in the top. And so just hearing those 3 things kind of like made it like, okay, well, I wanted to play at a crazy fan base. That was like the top thing for me, was I wanted to play like just crazy fans, crazy energy. And but that morning I was like feeling just so weird. I don't know if I was nervous about the possibility of this could be it, or, discouraged that I don't think I'm good enough to come here. And I told my mom, I'm like, nah, I don't want to go. So then it's like 5 a.m. My AAU coach is jumping on the phone. He's like, bro, this is Kentucky, bro. Like, you have to go. Like, why wouldn't you go just to see? And I was just like, I've already been on a couple of these trips. Like, I'm kind of over the recruiting process. And long story short, they talked me into it. I got on the plane. And the rest was history. I got off the plane. They picked us up and took us to horse races. And, the whole day was just like a show. And we get to the Midnight Madness, and they brought 16 pros back, and the crowd's going crazy. And I'm, walking again with the top one of every position. We got the number one guy in every position walking in front of me, and the crowd's going crazy with him. And then I was just like hearing the stragglers, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's Cauley-Stein, blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't even like a lot of people, but like I'm hearing it. I'm just like, damn, they know who I am. Like, this is crazy. I'm just a 4-star. These guys are all 5-star guys. I'm just like, wow, like this place is insane. Like, biggest smile on my face, just like, watching this whole show go down. And afterwards, everybody goes out and you're going to spend time with the guys. And I was over it, bro. I was like, I'm not out with the guys. I don't even want to go party or nothing like that. So I actually went to Orange Leaf with Coach Cal, and we just got to talking about life. And he was like, yeah, this is like 1 of 12 Orange Leafs I own in Kentucky. And that's when it just like a fucking light bulb came on. Like, oh, this guy is so rich. This guy has so much money. Like, holy shit. Like, this is, I want to come here. Like, Alfred, like, from that, just having that conversation, and like, this is like 1 of 12 that I have. I'm just like, what else do you have? Like, and I go there and end up having, the time of my life, and met the best friends that I have still to this day, and played some of the best basketball I've ever played there.
Yeah, sick. Was it at Kentucky where you like realized that the NBA was a real possibility, or had you kind of, I guess, been hinting at it before? Or
yeah, I mean, everybody was telling me that, like, even AAU, you kind of know, like, if you keep on going on and just doing the right things, like, you'll get there. But being the 6th pick, I don't think was ever until like my junior year. And I don't know, a little of a switch went off, and I matured up a lot. And I had broke my ankle the year before so I had to sit out in the championship game, and was like, had surgery a week after that. And I just remember sitting after surgery, I was on FaceTime with one of my best friends, and he's like, so you're gonna go to the league? Because I was still projected like top 15 with a broken ankle. And I was like, nah, man, I got some shit I want to do. Like, I want to get some accolades. Like, I want to be player of the year. I want to go to the championship again. And, a bunch of other little things that I was fucking high off of morphine. I don't even, who knows what but I remember that. And I can fast forward, 20, 24 weeks I had to sit out. And I was kind of like hungry after that, like I wanted to just play, and watching all the guys come in and play pickup. And they went to the Bahamas and getting to play against, Dominican and Puerto Rico, and like having a blast. I'm just sitting there watching. So it made me super hungry. So when it was time for me to play, I had like 25 weeks of built up energy and just hit the ground rolling. I mean, I think our first big game was against Texas, and they ended up having like 20 and 12. And now I'm on the top of the leaderboards, and things was just rolling. We end up having that historic season, and next thing they're saying you're a top 5 pick, and I'm like, well, shit, if I'm a top 5 pick, this year, I think I want to stay another year for a 4th year. Like, I think I go number 1. Like, from what I know now, at that point, I'm like, shit, another year. Like, I was just tapping into the mid ranges and like really tapping into the game of basketball, not just raw athlete catching lobs and defending. Like, just I was really starting to tap into the skill of basketball, and they were like, "Nah, you gotta go." Coach Cal was like, "Nah, you gotta get out of here." And I was like, "All right, whatever, I guess it's time to go." And ended up being 6th pick, and I had a good time.
Did you know in advance like that you were going 6, or was it kind of a surprise? Or I've always sort of wondered whether players kind of know if they're going or not.
Well, like it, you kind of you're gonna go top, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I only worked out for 5 teams, and they were all in the top 5, 6 picks. So, so you knew at that point, like one of these teams is gonna pick you. And I had a really good interview process with Shaq, and their owner was awesome. Like he loved that I was an artist, and I kind of thought different than a lot of the other basketball players in that draft class. And so I don't know, I think that piqued his interest a little bit more than just picking a regular hooper. They was getting an artist, not really a basketball player. And so like we're sitting there at the table, and Sack come over the thing, and we got the call, and they're like, "Yo, Sack's gonna take you." And I kind of already knew, you know what I mean? Like I kind of had the feeling from just talking to them in the interview process that they like, they really liked me, and what they were kind of heading towards for their, they had a new stadium that they were building, and they were kind of rebranding their whole team. And I kind of fit perfect for what they were going for. And so I kind of had a feeling they're going to take me. I didn't know that the situation was what it was. Coach Cal ended up like hitting us right after and was like, it's a shit show over there. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, not a good organization, but like, just go in there, keep your head down and work, and like you'll have success. And so that's what I did. I just went in there. I didn't, I never thought I was a traditional 5-man. I always had to play or act the role of a traditional 5-man. And so going in there having to, act like a 5-man and play against like the best 5 men in the world, outweighed me by 40, 50 pounds every night. It was like, it was fun, but it wasn't like as much fun as it could have been. Like if I was playing my natural position and getting to like explore, different skill levels and actually expand my game as like most top picks get to. I kind of got put in a box early, and took like 2 or 3 years before they started letting me develop actually as a player, not just, oh, you're good at rim running, doing this and that. Like, that's what you're going to do. And it was like, to me, that wasn't that fun. So, the energy, I think the energy got affected. And like, I just didn't want to be that type of role. Honestly, I didn't want that type of role, like where it wasn't natural. Like I was having to think about what I'm doing instead of like doing things. So that just came natural to me. And I think that was pretty hard on me.
After getting drafted 6th, how was that transition into like the NBA? And how was your rookie year? Was it as much as you thought it was going to be, or was it like better?
Nah, it wasn't what I thought. It was like, most top 5, 6, even 10 picks, like you get put on a team unless like you're going straight to a playoff team, then it's a little different. But like I'm going to one of the worst teams in the league at the time, and they didn't like try to develop me. Like it was like, I was a bit older as a rookie than most rookies, and so I remember one play I posting up on the block, trying to, get into my bag a little bit. We're getting killed anyways. And Coach Carl, called a timeout, like right before I catch the ball, calls a timeout. It's like, no, we don't post him. Oh, he hated rookies. rookies, man. I fucking hated rookies. It's like, what are you guys doing? Like, we don't post him. I'm like, bro, getting beat by 20. Like, what do you mean? I'm the 6th pick. Like, you know, it was like mad confusing. I'm like, well, like, we're the worst team in the league and you're not developing me. Like, you know, most guys are like, you know, they're letting their top pick like develop and like make mistakes and learn the game a little bit. And I didn't get that. I didn't get that luxury. And so it kind of put me behind the role a little bit, I think. And then they made the Boogie trade to the Pelicans, and I have a career high. And then it was like it started getting fun for me because now, like, you know, I'm starting to be able to take threes and, you know, put the ball on the deck and score more. And by the time like my 3rd year, you know, I had more 20-point games than I ever had in my whole life. And so it was always like funny to me that everybody like coming in was like, oh, he can't score and he's just a defensive guy. But it's like, you know, in my head behind the scenes, I'm working on every facet of the game, all guard skills and shooting skills. And like there's not a thing in basketball I don't think I could do, and nothing that I hadn't worked on to do. So to me, it was just like, damn, if I would have got to tap into that as a rookie and learn that shit as a rookie by the time I was, you know, 3rd year going into a contract year, you don't look as Bambi-ish, you know, like a baby deer trying to figure this out. Like you kind of got to figure it out when you was a Bambi. And like I said, like, you know, I just didn't get that luxury. But by the time I was the kind of older dude on the team, we're bringing in these younger guys. And they kind of changed coaching staffs at that point and a couple like front office guys. And them young guys were getting to do that. So it was like, you know, bittersweet. Like I'm seeing these young guys, I'm telling them, you know, like, yo, don't let these dudes tell you that, like, you know, you can't develop type shit. Like, you know, get down. Like, you know, you don't get this opportunity for long. Like, get down. Like, you trust me, you don't want to get put in a box. Like, you get put in a box, you'll be in this box for your whole career. And, you know, however that transpired or whatever happened, you know, there's some things that happen with the agent and front office that I don't even know about, but end up, you know, getting to a point where they're not giving me a contract extension. And, you know, it was confusing because I'm having the best numbers I've ever had. And every year I got better. So I'm looking around the field and I'm seeing Cat get 100 mil and D-Book get 100 and Jokic get 100. And I'm looking like I'm playing just in the same realm as these guys. I'm thinking like, well, damn, when am I going to get my check? Like, when am I going to get secured? And it just never happened. And then I ended up having to sign with the Warriors for the minimum. And then it was just like starting as a rookie all over again. Like, I don't know, it was a crazy time, but it was cool getting to go to the Warriors and see how like a real championship organization is ran. And you know, I got to play big minutes there, and it was just unfortunate that the guys that are the guys, you know, were all hurt, and you know, it was just a bunch of us that they had to put together to try to compete. But it was still fun, man. It was still great learning under Coach Kerr, and I mean, I had a there.
Yeah, because I'm a Warriors fan too. And when I saw you signed, I was like really excited. I was like, it's gonna be Lob City out here, like you're just gonna be out here scoring buckets. And then Steph got injured within like 6 games, and I was like, oh no. Then it was all downhill from there.
And the big thing is, I had tore a ligament during right before training camp, so then I didn't even get to play no games with him. Like the game that I broke his wrist before I even got in the game. So I was like, damn, I didn't get to play with Clay, Steph. I played with Draymond. It was cool, kind of learning defensive stuff from Draymond, and obviously got to play with D'Lo. And you know, there were some games that we had a good time there, but it was a rough year for us. I mean, especially just coming off a championship year, and you know, everybody gets hurt, and you're just like, damn.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a moment? Oh, I mean, I'm sure you did, but like early on that you can remember that was like a welcome to the league moment where you were like, shit, like I'm actually like in the league with like I guess the best athletes in the world, and like was there a moment when shit, I'm here?
Yeah, I mean, it was all the first games that like I actually got to play, big minutes or started. I think I started like 32 games my rookie year. And so like my matchups are like Tim Duncan and Paul Gasol and like all of these like legends growing up that I'm playing in my backyard against, but they're in my mind, you know what I mean? I'm playing one-on-one against myself, but I'm like in my head, I'm playing one-on-one against Tim Duncan and making the game-winning shot over him and stuff like that. And so like, yeah, the first time I got to play against Tim Duncan was like, I can't believe I'm playing against Tim Duncan right now. Or like, the first time I'm stepping on the same floor as Kobe and he's standing right next to me on a box out, like at a free throw line. And those type of rookie memories you'll never forget. Like, I mean, shit, I think I had some of the best games I've had against Dirk in like my rookie year. I think I had 25 against the Mavericks and hit Dirk with one of his famous Dirk shots, and like the whole crowd went crazy. Like, man, it was crazy. It was a lot of momentum going into my sophomore year, where they kind of flipped the script and got Coach Yeager in, and we started playing a different way, and I got to get a lot more freedom on the offensive end of making plays. We ran a lot of split games, and he was running stuff for me to get shots, and it was like a totally flip of what I thought my rookie year was going to be like. Like, I didn't get to do really anything until like the last 5-6 games of the season, when obviously we're not going to the playoffs and teams are kind of checked out. So, but it was like me and Seth Curry like going crazy for the young guys, and the Kings. Bro, like me and him had some of the best duos. Because I also played with him in Dallas, and like every time we just had a crazy connection from the Kings era. So I don't know, I had a lot of fun there though. It's probably definitely the most fun I had playing in the NBA was with the Kings though, especially my third year. Third year was so fun. Like we had a crazy team. Our team was just like super close, tight knit, and we had Shump as our leader. We had Zebo and Matt Barnes and guys like that going into that season. So it was fun learning from them guys.
Yeah, sick. We're talking about it, Tom and I, just before you got on, actually, obviously getting traded from Golden State to Dallas. Obviously getting traded is something that's like super unique just to athletes, right? Like it doesn't happen anywhere else in like any other workforce, right? What was that experience like, I guess? Did you like have an inkling that it was happening, or like, yeah?
No. So crazy thing is, so we signed a 1 year, I think I think it was a player option for 2 years. And so when everybody got hurt, I was actually going through some crazy mental things. One of my best friends just had got murdered right at literally like a week before I got signed to the Warriors. And so my mental space was pretty crazy. My wife was pregnant. And so in my mind, like, we signed to Warriors to get to the playoffs, because that was kind of the whole thing. We need to get to the playoffs. So, every other team, can see the value of what I bring to a team that's not always statistical based. I think a lot of the times fans and media get caught up in statistics, and the way I play isn't necessarily statistic based. It's just winning basketball. It's good basketball. You make winning plays and make reads and react. So I never been like big on statistics and stuff like that. And that was kind of tough for me too, to kind of navigate. Like, you're in a professional realm that statistics matter, and it's like everything. And kind of winning is a byproduct of those statistics. And so when we were figuring out what team to go to, like I could have took, I think it was like 8 or 9 million with Charlotte, but it was kind of like going into the Kings situation again. Like, they're not a great program. They're probably a little bit better than the Kings, but still like a young squad trying to like come up in the East. And I was kind of like over that situation. I'm like, man, I want to go to like a strong vetted team where I could still like learn some stuff and not have to be, others didn't really get that. Like, Boogie left, and I did learn a lot from Boogie when we were there. But like when things try to shift in a little bit and like are playing me a little more, I think he kind of felt, a little animosity towards me. Not that I was better than him by far. I'll never say that. Like, Boogie's one of the best players that I've ever played against, and that was in practice. I kind of got to play against him a little bit before he got hurt against the Pelicans and stuff like that. But like by far one of the best guys that I've ever had a guard. And so like I'm learning a lot just from being around him. Not so much that he's teaching me, but just like I'm watching him. Like whatever he's doing, I'm trying to do the same thing type stuff. Because, that's my position. And he's a revolution of the center spot. Like he's shooting threes at that point. He's taking people off the dribble. And I'm like, that's how I want to play. That's what I want to do. And so I'm learning, I'm kind of learning just from watching. And so going into that kind of the Warriors situation, they're like, well, we're going to give Looney his money, which rightfully so. Like he deserved that. He did a lot of work for him, banged up his body. So I understood that. I'm like, shit, I'll take the minimum. I respect the loyalty that you have towards that. I'll take the minimum and come in. Like Looney was hurt, so I was going to get to play a lot of minutes. So on paper, it just looked really good for us. Like, yeah, you could take, the money, or you could take this opportunity to play, maybe have a chance to play for a championship. And obviously, Clay tore his ACL and Katie left, and Steph broke his hand. And then it was kind of like, now we're at the bottom of the league. And so during that, like Coach Kerr and Myers, they pull me in. We're about to play Indy, and Sabonis was, about to be all-star, and I'm like, shit, like this is still, for me, this is still a big year for me. Like I need to prove that I'm this type of caliber of player as well. So we have a matchup against Indy that night, or that week or whatever. And the day of the game, I wake up from my pregame nap. I'm about to put my clothes on to go to the game, and my agent calls me and it's like, hey, we're actually gonna get traded to Dallas today. I'm just like, wait, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like right now, like we're going now. Yeah, you got like 2 days before you gotta leave and meet the team, and it's actually OKC. And I was just like, damn, like I had just, in my mind, I had just accepted that, like, it won't be this year. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to be here for another year, at least, another year before we get to the playoffs and do what we came here to do. And so, like, I went to the game and said bye to everybody, and had a conversation with Coach and Myers. And they're like, we loved you, and you're a professional while you were here. We just thought that, you came here to get to the playoffs. That's always been the reason why you came here. And Dallas got a good opportunity to be a contender in the West in the playoffs. So they needed a guy. So, we thought it just made sense for you. And, on paper, again, yeah, it did make sense. But, in my heart, I had already accepted that, like, it's not going to be this year. And so when it happened, I was really hurt, bro. Because I really loved it in the Bay. Just because we had been out there. It was comfortable. Sacramento was an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So, we had been around and played against those guys. They're damn near rivals citywide. So, we were always around. The fan base already loved me. It was like, I had been there for a while already. And so, yeah, no, I was hurt about that. Because then it was like, I go to Dallas and I have to start from zero. Like, I previously had really good games against Dallas, notoriously good games against Dallas. And, in their minds, they have a conception of what you are, where I had made all this leeway with Sacramento of expanding my game and being able to be a pick and pop guy and then going to the Warriors were the same, where the next year I think I'm getting to be a pick and pop guy and start manipulating the game a little more. I go to Dallas and it's like straight pick and roll, get in the dunker spot again. I'm just like, bro, I just did that for 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that type of player anymore. Mentally, I had worked on my game so much that, like, you're putting me back into square one where, it's just you don't want to do that. You don't want to play that role anymore. Like the hustle guy. And so then when you're not doing those little things like that, then they think something's wrong with you. But it's like, nah, I just mentally had gone to a different level that I feel like I was capable of being. And so, I had to start, I feel like a rookie all over again and kind of get Coach Carlisle's trust and the players' trust that, no, this guy can shoot it and handle it and make plays and, that whole good jazz of being a basketball player. But ended up having a really good time there, though. I think I was there for 2-3 years, and we still live in Dallas. Like that's our home now. I would go back to Dallas tomorrow if they wanted me. That's how much a lot of love in Dallas. As just the fans and people out there. So, nah, man, I had fun, and obviously Luka's a tremendous talent. Now they got Kyrie and stuff like that, and got a crazy young core. So. Things was looking up for him.
Sure. Obviously, recently moved or went over, now playing in Italy. How's that been? What was the process behind that decision, and how you're finding the play style, culture, etc. over there?
Yeah, no, I had went to the G, and played a little bit in the G. Just like I stepped away from the game for like, I don't know, 6 days. People thought it was longer than it was, but it really wasn't that long. It was like 6 months. And so they're like, oh, he hadn't played in a year and a half. Can he still play? And I was like, yeah, I could still play. It hadn't been that long, And so I went to the G to prove that, I could still play and I could expand the game a little bit, and had a good time in the G. I thought I had a chance of getting on Houston's roster for this year. New coach comes in. I guess he didn't like me or something. I don't know. And they decided to go a different direction. And so we were waiting. We could have waited for getting training camp deals and stuff like that. But I'm like, bro, I don't want to be a body and then go in here and get hurt and then they cut you, or go in here and have to not be secured and stuff like that. So. When Varese called, and Luis Scola, I remember him, when I was a rookie, still playing over here. So I was like, they were saying that this team that he had bought and kind of got American coach and American GM, American president, or assistant GM, I think. And so it was more Americanized. And, I had always thought about, what it's like playing overseas. And a lot of people think that like it's a knock, like if you're an NBA guy and you gotta like leave the NBA and go play overseas. So in my mind, I was like, damn, like am I that bad? I have to go to play, overseas. And I was completely wrong about that, by the way. Like, you can still make a lot of money over here. I mean, money is money. So you get in a right situation in one of these big market teams, you're making more money than what I would be making as a minimum guy in the league. So it just made sense for me. Like, instead of having to go through the G League again or go to a training camp deal, you got to play the best that you can play in that small amount of time. And you might get on. It was like, I was just tired of the mites, or, you got to be perfect. And I was like, man, I'm just going to go try it. And I honestly thought about retiring. It was like, I was kind of tired of the politics of the league and, the role that was cemented for me there. I was like, I have so much to get to the game that I wanted to explore it. And so when Varese called, it was like, it was actually crazy. It was a crazy story. I was back in my hometown in Spearville, and it was like midnight, or it was like 11:50, and they called me and they're like, yeah, we're kind of on a timetable. Like, we need to know like in the next hour if you want to come or not. And I'm like, wait a second, you know, I need to like talk to my wife. She's downstairs with her twins and my daughter trying to put them to sleep. And they're like, no, we understand, you know, dude, you got an hour. I was just like, holy shit, this is happening quick. And like, you know, prior to 30 minutes before that conversation, we're just chilling. I'm playing golf and I'm with my family, having barbecues and fucking we're waiting on the season to get around to get a training camp deal or something to see if any team want to pick you up or whatnot. And but like I said, mentally I was kind of like, man, I'm tired of not feeling wanted for one. Like this is the best I've been skill wise and mentally. And I'm like, nobody wants me. Like this is crazy. And so to have a team that's like wants you for, you know, more than three things that you can do really well was kind of it was very exciting to hear and very enticing. So I went downstairs and was like, babe, like, what do you think about Italy? She's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, yeah, no, the team just called me and they said they want me like, you know, I got to make a decision in an hour. And she was like an hour? Like you don't have longer? And I'm like I need to tell them tonight whether like it's a go or not. And she was like, I mean, you know, we're gonna ride with you, whatever you want to do, like whatever your heart's telling you. And I was like, shit, I think we're gonna go to Italy for the year then. And then it was like literally a week. We leave Spearville, go home, and we had a couple more things that we had to do before we had to leave. Like we had like her nephew's first birthday party that, you know, we had to go to the week after. I had like two implants I had to get done in my teeth before we left. So there was like a bunch of shit that like planned. And I had spent like $8,000 on a fucking golf trip to the new PGA Frisco that was non-refundable. And I was like, look, I have to, like, you know, like
I missing that.
Yeah, like one salary is not even, I'm making damn near more or I'm spending more on this trip than I might be making a month out here. And I was like, well, non-refundable, like I'm gonna use this. So I kind of may expanding the time at home. Like, bro, they wanted me like the 16th of August. And I was like, nah, I can't. It's gotta be like the 22nd or 21st, 22nd. Training camp had already started. So I missed like 3 days of training camp. And then I had a crazy experience at the airport. And I was like, after the airport thing, I was like, I called my agent and was like, I think I'm good. Like, I don't want to play. This is too much. Like, I ain't never had like a anxiety attack. Like, I remember packing up my things to like get to the airport. Like, I had to leave from the Frisco resort to the airport. So I had to have my friend, I had like 10 bags of shit packed in my truck from 2 days before. Like, oh, you got to meet me at the airport at this time. I'm supposed to leave at 10 a.m. And, you know, I got my family that my cousin just had a new daughter, and I didn't get to see her firstborn until that same weekend. It had been like a year and a half, and I'm like, there's a lot of things happening in the last year where like life is short, and like I wanted to like experience some things. And so there was just like a wild buildup of like just pressure and anxiety. And so from what I needed to think about right after I told him I would leave, I didn't end up thinking about none of that process until the day that I was supposed to leave. Yeah. And it was just crazy. So I missed like 3 of the flights because my bags was too heavy and I had too much stuff, and like bro, it was a mess, bro. And it was like I literally had a breakdown where like I was standing at the gates or the terminals, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, you missed the cutoff. And I missed the cutoff like three flights. And I eventually just called and I was like, yo, I think I'm retiring. Like, this ain't for me. Like, I'm over the whole thing. And you know, crazy thing is I thought I was like, since I missed those flights, like I was like, man, this team's gonna burn me. Like now, no team's gonna want to mess with me. So I like get back to the house, and the GM actually calls, and he was like, we just kind of want to know where your mind was at. Like, not even on some like GM, like this is just person to person, like. Because I'm sure this happens to a lot of guys. I've never left the country like that before. So it was like, this is like a big, milestone in my life, my family's life, and just like in a career standpoint. And so they wanted to like know, like, for future people, like what was you going through? And that kind of made me feel like different. Like I wasn't just property or like an asset. It was like, nah, man, these people actually really care about my well-being. And so I talked to him, like, matter of fact, he was like, take 2 days, like, and just really think about it. And so 2 days went by. And the first day I was like, okay, you're retired. What are you going to do? And I'm like sitting at my desk, I got my notebook out, shit like that. And I'm like, fuck, I don't have anything. I don't know. Like, I have nothing. Like, golf? Like, I'm
golf for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I knew that was on the top of the list, like golf. I'm like, well, fuck, am I gonna turn pro in golf? Like, this is the only thing I do every single day. And so I'm like, well, that's gonna take a while to make money at. I at least need like 5-6 years of doing nothing but golfing and practicing golf to even try to get on a tour or something like that. And so then I was like, well, what am I gonna do for the 5 years I'm trying to work on golf? And then it was like, my investments are good, but like that's like a 25-year plan before your investments start like taking off like that. So I'm like, how are we gonna eat? Like, how are we gonna live for the next 10 years? And I was like, fuck, I gotta play basketball. Like, I gotta go back to work. And so called him up and kind of had that conversation 2 days later. And Luis Scola got on the phone, and we got to talking, and he started laughing at me, and he's like, Willie, you're not done playing. Like, guys like us aren't done playing. And I was just like, fuck, you're right. Like, I got way too much left to give. Like, I'm not done playing. And I was like, I'll be on the flight tomorrow. And then had a different way of going about the bag situation. And you actually had like plans and planned out what it was going to be like. And it was crazy. It just took a wild ass experience in an airport to get plans together, and got on the flight. And I knew once I got on the flight, everything would be good. Like, I would love it over here. So, once everything was secured and my golf clubs was secured, and I was like, all right, golf clubs is on the plane. We got to go. That was the first thing I put on the little thing was the golf clubs. I'm like, well, I can't leave the golf clubs in Italy, so we got to get on the flight. And got on the flight, and man, as soon as we landed, it was love. And shit, bro, it's been wonderful over here. And then playing, it's like they let me be me, and like I'm getting to play how I've always wanted to play. And it's still a process, but it's like a fun process because it's like it's on me. Like, if you want to be able to shoot threes and play ISO game, like, you gotta put in the work even more now. So then it just kind of made me more hungry on that side, where in the league I kind of got super complacent because, like, let's be honest, like, rim running, blocking shots, playing defense just came very, very natural from college to me. So like in my head, I'm like, well, why do I need to work out? Like, I just need to be in shape. Like, I don't even need to like touch a ball to do what they need me to do in the league. So it wasn't like fun for me because I wasn't getting to expand as a basketball player. I was just an asset. Like, oh, you can rim run and catch lobs. And to me, like, I was getting penalized on like times when I would get discouraged and practices and shit. Like, when I would try to expand my game, and then have a coach tell you like, nah, like, we don't want you to do none of that stuff. It's kind of like, well, damn, like, why? Like, why wouldn't you? Like, if I could do it and feel like I could be good at it, and you guys see it every day, like, why not use it? And it just didn't make sense to me on why it wasn't like that. And so I would have times where I'd be like, go to the gym, practice, get my shit, and go home. and not like shoot after practice and not do like the things that they say you need to do. And I'm just like, what for what you want me to do? Like, why do I need to do that? Like, I just need to come here and run on the treadmill and practice. And I don't see why I need to shoot threes after practice and work on ball handling when I don't get to handle the ball. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. Like on an effort level, it was like, well, I'm putting in way more effort than I'm getting back on the back end. So like, well, why do that? And so then they put a tag on you, oh, the guy don't like basketball, he doesn't want to work and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, nah, it just doesn't make sense. Why would I need to do all that if I'm not going to be able to do it in a game? And so here it's totally, 180. Like they want me to shoot threes and they want me to take people off the dribble. So then it just made me more hungry. Like, oh, I got to get better again. Like, I got to start doing this shit every day again. So now I'm the first one in, the last one to leave, and working on my game like it's rookie year all over again. Which over here, I am a rookie. Like, this is year one for me. So that's how I approached it. And like, first game, I go off for 19 and 6 MVP of the week. And it was like, bro, like, fucking fans just going crazy. And like, it was like, wow, bro, like, I can't believe I almost let that shit go away. Like, it was just kind of cool to be able to play with that passion again. And like 2021, or I think it was 2022 or something like that, my grandmother passed away, and that was like, she was like my mom. She raised me as a kid, and nothing, no knock on my mom. Like, I love her to death, but she had to, work in a whole different state. And my grandparents raised me and my brother. And so like, when she passed away, like, the last thing that she told me was play hard, bud. And I was like, damn, she don't even know that I might not ever play again. Because at that time, I just got released from Dallas and nobody was fucking with me. So it was like, damn, like, what am I about to play hard at? Like, she don't even know that I won't even get to play again. And so when I had this opportunity come and I actually get to go out here and play, like, she always envisioned me playing. It was like, man, I can't believe I almost let that slip.
Yeah. Quick side note. I'm a bit of a golfer, and you have mentioned golf, so I have to ask. I saw some of like your reels and that, and there's some beautiful courses. What's your favorite course that you've played at? Because obviously you must be playing for a long time if you love it.
Bro, I've only been playing golf for 2 years, and I swear to God, if I would have been playing as a high schooler, I wouldn't have even touched basketball.
Yeah.
That's how much I love golf and how much I'm addicted to golf. It's like, basketball wouldn't be a thing for me. Like, I would have tried to be a pro golfer for sure. But so far in my like 2 years of playing, like, literally for 2 years, I play every day. Like, it's not like people, oh, I love golf and I'm a weekend golfer. Like, nah, like, the blueprint that I use for basketball is the same blueprint that I've done with golf. Like, I've gotten, like, at this point, my handicap's like a 7, and I've done it in over the like 2 year span. I started like,
that's nuts.
No, it's insane, bro. Like,
the
amount of like daily work that I put into it, though, it makes sense. Like, when I tell them like, oh, like, they'll see me play, they're like, oh, how long you been playing? I'm like, shit, like, little over 2 years now. And they're like, no way. I'm like, but I played every single day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. Like, sometimes I'll play fucking 3 rounds in a day, start at 6 a.m. and don't end until it gets dark. Like,
that's the life.
It was, bro. I'm telling you, when I was still getting paid, I was getting paid like $4 million from Dallas. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm a pro golfer right now. Like, I'm getting paid $4 million this year to golf. Like, I'm golfing every day, and it was like, bro, it was fucking like, oh, this is the life. Like, this is what I need to do right here, figuring out how to make a bunch of money just playing golf. And or come with a golf brand and start making money doing a golf brand or something. So like, that's kind of where I still like loving playing basketball, but like there's definitely like a super addiction and passion for golf that I got to figure out how to make money off of, whether it's turn pro or like create a brand. That's why I started the TikTok stuff.
Yeah.
And because like, I think there's just a crazy market for golf right now. So
yeah, it's as big as it's ever been. Because I was watching some of them and I was like, you've actually got like one of those shots that you put it like right near the pin. I was like, damn, wish I could do that as often as you probably are doing.
bro. But it's a fickle game, bro. Like it's a fickle,
So,
fickle game. Like
sometimes you love it, sometimes you hate it.
oh, bro, and it's like most of the times for me, when I hate it is when I love it the most, because it's like, how come one day I could shoot a 73 and the next day shoot a fucking 89? Like, it don't even make sense of how it can work out like that. Like, how one day you're so good and the next day you're just trash, and it's like everything in between that is like why I love the game, is because like it's such a hard sport. It's by far I played every sport that like I was allowed to play growing up that was at my leisure, and like if we would have had a golf course where I grew up at, like I swear to God, I would not have done any other sport besides that. Because it's probably the best game ever made, honestly. Because it's like it's you versus you know what I mean? Like you don't have to worry about a coach, you don't have to worry about teammates. Like, you know, in my position, like I have to bank on a teammate throwing me the ball to like put up numbers. And like that's a terrible spot to be in when it's a numbers game. So like, you know, you get a tag put on you that you're inconsistent, because one game you have 19 and the next game you have 6 points. Well, the game that I had 19, they threw me the ball fucking 9 times. The game that I had 6 points, I got it 6, times, and I missed 2 shots. And now you have to go 100% to have like double-digit numbers. And it's like, to me, I think that's just a trash position to be in, is being a center, unless like you get the ball like Embiid or Jokic and Cat, where every time down the court you get to touch it. But like in the position where I was in, it was, you might run 5 minutes and not touch the ball once, and it was just like, man, this ain't it. So luckily here it's not like that, but they are like, golf is just you versus you, and like you can't blame anybody but yourself, and I love that about that.
Yeah, it's a great sport.
I think that's all I've got this morning.
Yeah,
I'd like to say huge thanks to getting on, man. It's been cool. It's been fun.
Nah, man, I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Really appreciate it. But yeah. Sorry,
I'm definitely gonna tap in and start watching y'all boys and stuff.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Absolutely. We'll get out in a couple of days, and we'll it'll be good, man. And good luck in the golf career, and hopefully it takes off. And
I'll be watching you when you go pro.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all gotta pull up to my first tournament when I make it.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, without a doubt, I'll be there.
Yeah, for sure.
No worries, man. Peace. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yep, y'all get some sleep, man.
Yeah, man, we will. Sun's just come up, so
that's crazy.
Cheers, man.
All right, fellas.